What are you training for? What are you fighting for? What are you, there gunfighter, preparing for? That's what we're going to talk about today on Gunfighter Life, the podcast where we talk about guns, gunfighting, tactics, ballistics, training, being prepared, watching and being ready. The right way with Almighty God at the center, Judeo-Christian values, and real-world first-hand experience. On that, I am going to put in the bio, so you know that the person talking to you has some kind of credibility, has walked the walk, is not just talking the talk. You want to skip it? Skip around 2 minutes. If this is not your first rodeo here, like, subscribe, leave a review of the podcast. Appreciate you. I'll roll into a quick abbreviated bio and then into the main topic. First and foremost, I am a Christian. I don't apologize for that. God is number one in my life. I grew up hunting and fishing in the backwoods of the southeastern United States at a very early age. Some of my earliest memories are with firearms. I joined the Marine Corps at 17, did a couple of combat tours in Iraq. By God's grace, He got me through that safely. After that, I served as a instructor, an urban warfare instructor and a desert warfare instructor for the United States Marine Corps. I also served with the LAPD, both full-time as a sworn police officer and some more specialized assignments, as well as serving in the U.S. Army, full-time and part-time National Guard. I've been a FBI firearms instructor, still am an FBI firearms instructor, have been for a lot of years, also NRA certified and some other 3-letter government agency certified. I've been a private contractor for a 3-letter government agency I won't specify. I've been the commander of a tactical team in a large metropolitan area. By God's grace, He got me through all that in one piece, not because I'm better, but because He chose to have grace and mercy on me. I've been a professional hunter and guide. Professionally hunted things like buffalo and elk. Not many people today can say they've done that, but I'm blessed to be able to say that I have. I've hunted everything from white-tailed deer on the East Coast to mule deer on the West Coast to gray squirrel on the East Coast to prairie dog on the West Coast and elk and bear and wolf and slain all manner of beast. A state rifle and pistol champion a few times over in a few different disciplines. Now those experiences, it's not because I'm bigger or badder. Certainly not bigger. In fact, I met one of the patrons in real life, and he said something to the effect of, "I thought you'd be bigger." Reminded me of that William Wallace movie, where he's like, "Oh yeah, if William Wallace were here, he'd shoot lightning bolts out of his rear end." Well, I'm not William Wallace, but I am the person that did all those things in the bio. But not because I'm bigger or badder. I don't think that I survived when many other young good men did not. I give all the glory and all the credit to God, all the talents and experiences that He's given me and the things that He's let me live through. I hope to use them to glorify God and to help you today. So if I boast in anything, it's not in my strength, it's in that God had mercy on me and saved me because He had a purpose for me. And hopefully I can use those talent, skills, and abilities to serve you today. What are you preparing for? What are you getting ready for? What are you training for? First of all, men, you had better be training. And I don't mean that you contributed to the NRA, you voted to have an elephant rule over you, and you carry an LCP in your pocket and went to the range once. Don't come here and expect to get patted on the back. There's plenty of other avenues you can go if you just want to get patted on the back or told, if you do this thing, you'll be ready. If you vote for this person, if you do this, then you're prepared. You get it, man. If you drink this coffee blend, if you rock this camo pattern, if you just merely have a gun on you, you're one of the good guys. You get it. When things get tough, you're ready. Women are going to want you and men are going to want to be you. This is not that This is not that. There's plenty of places you can go and get fed that garbage. Get that trash out of my house. This is not that. I care about you guys too much to feed you that garbage. I'm not going to pee on you and tell you that it's raining. I'm not going to pump you, push a bunch of sponsors on you, take bribes, and then tell you, if you get this thing, you'll be ready, man. No. Shooting is a skill. It requires training. It's also a perishable skill. It's not like one of those cheesy action movies from the 80s where, like, there was a guy that did something once, and since then he's been drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels in a trailer every day, and somebody's just got to give him a call, and he's back in action better than he ever was. That's not how that works, right? That's Hollywood. This is not John Wick, right? You don't just go to a bunch of guns buried in concrete and then pick them up one day and act like you never stopped. Shooting is a perishable skill. Owning a gun does not mean that you can use it. Just like if you gave me an electric guitar doesn't mean I could play you a rock song. I don't know how to play the guitar. Just the mere fact that I have one in my possession doesn't really mean anything other than I have a guitar. Maybe I can take it to the pawn shop. A gun is not a security blankie, which I think sadly a lot of people think that it is. Oh, I voted for the right person and I have a gun. I'm good to go. You're not good to go. You just have a gun. You're just a dude with a gun. Many people have a gun and they don't even have it on them. Might as well be on the moon, right? Because I doubt if you get into an altercation where you need a gun, you're going to be like, hold on, let me drive home, grab my gun, and get it. Right? So, there's that. And then, again, a gun is not a security blankie, right? You don't just squeeze it and then bad guys go away. You just hold on to it and close your eyes and you have a gun and you're good to go. That's not how it works. I don't care how cool a gun it is. I don't care if it's the coolest, nicest STI Staccato 2011 with the latest generation of Trijicon, with the best duty ammo and the best holster in black multicam, right? The mere fact that you have it doesn't mean anything if you can't drive that gun, if you can't run it, if you're not trained, if you're not well regulated. I don't care if you have it on you. I don't care if you have it in your waistband. That does not make you prepared. It does not make one a gunfighter. It does not make one ready. Training. Now, I served in two branches of the armed forces. I first joined the Marine Corps, served in the Marine Corps. Infantry and the Marines are kind of world-renowned for being warriors. And as much as I'd hate to burst your bubble, right, the fact that you were born here in America does not make you any tougher or any greater of a warrior than young men born anywhere around the world. In fact, today I'd say it probably puts them at a disadvantage because a lot of young American men sadly have gotten soft. But the Marines, infantry, are still a formidable fighting force. And it's not because of American culture anymore, right? A lot of Americans that join the Marine Corps, especially that grew up in urban environments, a lot of from broken homes, may have never even fired a gun before they joined the Marine Corps. Right? So why are the Marines a formidable fighting force? Why are they known for that? Training. Training is why. They understand warrior culture. They understand warrior ethos. They understand hard work and training. There's no snake oil here. There's not, if you pay me 5 easy payments of $99.99, I'll give you the secret to be a better gunfighter. There's no secret. Hard work. Dedication. It's like when people ask me about fitness and they already know the answer. How do I get fit? Pray, right? That's number one. Go to God for anything. But pray. Get decent sleep. Don't eat garbage. Lift heavy things. Do cardio. There's no secret. It's hard work and dedication. And then they'll, if they really don't want to, act like they don't understand, like, what do you mean by, like, what's healthy? What? Okay, a Twinkie or a grilled chicken breast, which one of those is healthy? A 5-year-old can answer that. A can of spinach or a chocolate chip cookie, which one of those is healthy? And a 5-year-old can answer that, if they did it honestly. It's no secret. Are you training? And what are you training for? And people have guns for different reasons, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You have the right to have a gun. You could have all kinds of guns and have never shot a gun. You could collect guns just for weird, obscure guns, just because you like the mechanical mechanism, because you like the history. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, that makes you a guy with guns. It doesn't make you prepared. It doesn't make you ready. It doesn't make you a warrior. A lot of people, sadly, though, I think, have a gun, and maybe they've shot it once or twice, and they think that makes them somehow good to go. And that is dangerous. Training. If you honestly think that you may have to use deadly force at some point in your life, or at least be willing to use force that would cause or would reasonably be likely to cause death or serious bodily injury to prevent harm to yourself or others, right? That's a weighty, heavy, drastic thing. You think you ought to put a little bit more effort into that than just buying a gun and watching a YouTube video? Probably, right? And I'm not saying the government should mandate training. I'm saying you should mandate yourself. You should regulate yourself. You should be well regulated. And what are you training for? If you're looking for the mediocre answer, oh, you're probably good enough, I'll pat you on the back, this is not that podcast. If you just want to be average, this is not your podcast. Are you training intentionally, like you mean it? Are you picturing like really realistic scenarios that happen today? Or are you trying to picture scenarios that are going to happen to you based on what training and experience you have? Which, if it's very little, will probably be something that you think you can handle. Right? That's not good. The old, and this, I don't like a lot of this stuff where, the averages. Well, first of all, averages are flawed. Do you even go behind the scenes and look at how they get the averages? The average distance is 3 yards. Okay, well, do they count executions in that? Because an execution is 0 yards. So, if you take the execution out, the distance gets a lot greater, right? Do they count suicides in that? It makes the distance a lot greater. It's less than 3 rounds for most civilian gunfights. Again, are they counting executions? Are they counting suicides? And what do you care what average is? Do you want to be average? Do you want to be better than average? Hopefully you want to be better than average. Yeah, there are situations where almost any gun will do. Right? Some meth addict tries to rob you at a 7-Eleven at night, and you pull out your Ruger LCP in 22, and he puts his hands up and leaves. Okay, then there you go. That gun was more than enough. But what if it's 3 guys? One comes up to you, one is on the other side of your car, and when you turn around from putting the gas hose back, somebody's reaching into your car to grab the person you love the most in this world, your son, your daughter. If you're married, hopefully your spouse, and you got 3 bad guys to deal with. You train them for that? Probably that Ruger LCP in 22 is probably not what you want, right? Now, if you're trained for that, and you're like, I can handle that, then the meth addict that comes alone and just wants your stuff, and as soon as you pull a gun out, he runs away, then you're good for that too. What are you training for? Are you training for the home invasion that the guy just breaks in and tries to take your big screen TV at night because he's a crack addict and needs the money, or doesn't need the money, but wants the money and wants to take your TV to get it? Are you training for the home invasion of the guy that breaks in the middle of the day on a Sunday because he knows you're home and his entire intent is to do whatever he wants to with your family and then kill you and your family? If you're ready for that guy, the guy that breaks into your house for the TV is probably not as big an issue. Or do you not carry in your house when you're home during the day because, well, that's just crazy? Here's the thing. A lot of home invasions happen during the day. Look up the numbers on that. Don't be training for your fantasies. Like you hear a bump in the night and you wake up and you've got your 10.5-inch Daniel defense with a suppressor on it. Okay, well, if that's upstairs in your bedroom, most people live in houses with bedrooms. I don't, but a lot of people do. Somebody breaks in the middle of the day and you're downstairs and they're armed. You're probably not going up to your room to get your Daniel Defense AR-15 with a can on it. So what are you preparing for? A lot of home invasions, look it up, happen during the day when people are home. Now, they may or may not want you to be home, but a lot of home invasions happen during the day. So again, what are you preparing for? What are you training for? And of course, there are outliers where none of that would matter. You'd be the most well-trained John Wick ×2 Krav Maga expert ultramarathon runner, and you get plowed into by a woman texting while driving, and you get killed in a car accident. Right? Then all your training doesn't matter. There are things beyond your control. No day is guaranteed. If you are spared every single day, it's not because of your goodness, your greatness, because you deserve it. It's a gift. It is the grace of God. But God also tells us to watch and be ready. Nobody knows the day or the hour. I don't know when the end is coming, but the Bible tells us an end is coming. And I'm not pretending to be a false prophet. I don't see the future. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen in 1,000 years. It could happen in 10,000 years from now. It could happen in your lifetime. It could happen in your kid's lifetime. It could happen somewhere so far in the future that America has ceased to be and they dig up old relics. It could be so far in the future they look up at Mount Rushmore and try and figure out if those actually used to be faces or not. And make up stories about who knows who made those. It could be that far in the future. It could be tomorrow. I don't know when the big end is coming, but there are only 2 men in the Bible I know that didn't die. Even Christ died. Only Elijah and Enoch. I'm not saying you can't be one of those, but only 2 in history that didn't actually die. Even Christ died. So, whether the big end comes tomorrow or not, we all have an end coming for our earthly bodies. Doesn't give us a free pass to not watch and be ready. You are an eternal being. Your body is not the most important thing. Do not make your body into an idol. Do not worship your body. It is a temporary dwelling. It is a tent, a tabernacle. It is a place while we're here on this earth where we, our spirit, and the Holy Spirit dwells if we are in Christ. We have the Spirit of God in us. We should take care of that body. We should train. It's not the most important thing, but it is an important thing. You should take care of it. Likewise, your defense. Being able to provide and protect for others around you, to be able to love your neighbor as yourself, that's important. Are you training? Are you ready? And again, nobody can be completely ready. Nobody sees the future. But are you training intentionally? Do you take that part of your life with some kind of intentionality? Or do you just think that you're good to go because you voted for an elephant, you are a member of the NRA, and you carry an LCP? You went to the range once last year. After the first box of ammo, you got back into the swing of things and haven't shot it since. And this is not tuned in to make you feel good life. This should make you feel good if you are actually training, if you are actually getting after it, if you're actually out there running Mozambique drills, if you're actually out there working on your draw, if you're actually dry firing on a consistent basis, if you carry a fighting handgun, if you can clear a malfunction in the dark, if you have some kind of ground fighting ability, because a lot of fights end up on the ground, gunfighting or otherwise, right? Are you training for a sticky situation, a bad time? This episode may either hit you as an attaboy and you're like, yeah, I am training, and we can all get better. Right? That's one of the marks of being really good at something, is always pushing to be better at it. It's a perishable skill. So this will either hit you as an attaboy, yeah. And I mean, honestly, looking at yourself and thinking, yeah, I'm training intentionally. I've got a lot of work to do, but I'm taking it seriously. Or it could be a kick in the pants. Hopefully it's a kick in the back of the pants to motivate you and get you going. Maybe a kick from the front in your man parts, and you just give up. I don't know. I don't know what kind of man you are. I don't know that all men are called to be warriors. I don't know that all men have to be warriors. I don't know that they don't. I don't know that they do. But if you're listening to this, something tells me that you probably think that you should be. What's a commonality through warriors throughout history? Right? They're fit, they train, they know their weapons. Again, this is not some movie. There's no cheat code. There's no automatic download. You have to get after it. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the time. Some money, but probably mostly time. There are plenty of guys that have a handgun and then a handgun, and they're looking at their next handgun, and they haven't put a decent amount of training in the handguns they already have. Like, another handgun is going to solve their problems. There's times for, I have multiple guns. I have guns for specific purposes. But if you have a couple of handguns or AR-15s, fighting rifles, looking at, I really want this next one because it's this specific thing. Are you training with the guns that you have? As much as I like to pick apart the minutia of different guns and operating systems and this or that, I was out running drills today, and I was going back to the basics. You might say slumming it, right? Running a factory trigger Glock, and then running some much nicer guns. I would consider much nicer guns. The difference is not nothing, but it's very small compared to the difference of somebody that's actually trained and is good and has a quick draw. The amount of time it takes to manipulate even a really bad trigger like a Glock and get a first solid hit on target is fractions of a second. And I'm not saying that's nothing, but it's exponentially small and a small fraction of the time it takes compared to somebody that trains a lot and practices their draw and somebody that doesn't. And if you're running your handgun to its fullest potential, and if the trigger is holding you back or the accuracy of the gun is holding you back or whatever, there's a time and a place to upgrade if you have the money for it and you're blessed with the resources for it. But again, having a bunch of guns, it's not what it's about. Being well-trained, well-regulated, training, and training like you mean it. Not just throwing rounds downrange and putting a gun on you and thinking, I'm good. Are you? So be honest, be circumspect, and consider for yourself. What are you training for? What are you getting ready for? Now, I made a couple of training courses. Probably not a good place to start. In fact, I'm going to tell you if you're not there yet, because they're not just #MeToo, I'm a gunfighter courses of fire. I would say start with the FBI qual. Once you can ace the FBI qual, maybe go look at the Armed Citizens Course of Fire for a handgun. And shoot the U.S. Army's alternate paper qual. I think it's the alternate qual C. It's all shot with reduced size silhouettes at 25 yards. Try that with a carbine. You start acing that on the carbine, then look for the course that I came up with on practical rifle skills. And here's the thing. Because I'm not trying to sell you on some gimmick. I made those. Maybe I'm not the best capitalist in the world. Maybe I don't care about money enough. Because I'm not exactly raking it in with the podcast. I'm thankful for all the patrons that do support. I really am. It is very humbling. But I put those courses out for free. They're open source. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you can figure out how to use a search engine and find those in past episodes. Armed Citizen Course of Fire. Right? They're good, practical. You can go beyond that for sure, but it's a good, practical course of fire. Seek some kind of training. I'm not even selling it right now. I'm not even in a position to train right now. I'm trying to get ready for a contract going back to pro gunfighting. I'm not even selling my own training. I'm just telling you, get training. Some kind of training outside of you. If you've never had any kind of formal training, and I don't mean like your buddy who was a cop or is a cop. Most cops are not gunfighters. I'm talking about actual professional training. Get some. I don't care who. There's a lot of good companies out there. Again, if you take it seriously, look at some research, look at the person's bona fides. Do they actually have any credibility to teach you what they're teaching you? And are they a good teacher? Because some people have a lot of skill, but they can't transfer that to the student in a way that makes it tangible. But if they have those qualities, there are a lot of good trainers out there. Get some kind of training or shoot some kind of competition. Competition is decent training. I'm not telling you one's better than the other. I'm saying get both, but at least start with one. Go to a local match, right? Go to a local GSSF match. Are they the most practical? No, but if you've never shot a competition, you're going to be drinking from a fire hose, as they say. Not even a Glock guy, but if you have a Glock, look at a GSSF match. If not, maybe look at a Steel Challenge match. Don't go there expecting to win. Go there expecting to be humbled and learn. Or take some kind of training course. I mean, I'm not even selling it, so I'm not trying to push you on some sponsor or drink my brand of Kool-Aid and you'll be cool. Like, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just telling you to take it seriously and look for yourself. If you have a decent handgun, if you have a decent carbine, if you have a decent shotgun, maybe look at getting some training. Or if you've had some training in the past, getting back on those skills. I know it just was winter, and a lot of people stopped shooting in the winter. Hopefully you didn't stop dry firing. It's time to get out to that range. Beautiful day. Enjoy God's creation. Get some free vitamin D. We weren't meant to live in cubes. Get out and get some training. If you already have a base and you know what you need to work on, then get out and get after it. Anyway, that's a good place to start wrapping up the episode. Your tactical tip of the day. Keepers. Belt keepers. Does it sound tactical? It is tactical. Not like, ooh, Gucci, black multicam tactical, but actually practical tactical. Belt keepers. You can buy them. You can make them. Whether you're talking about a normal belt, CCW, you may or may not need it. Talking about some kind of war belt or gun belt, you may need it. Or you can make your own. If they sell them, you can buy them. Or you can make them out of 550 cord. If you make them out of 550 cord, of all places that are super tactical, Michael's Art Supply, right? They sell these little clips. They'll find them in a section where they sell like 550 cord. And 550 cord's pretty tactical. Bet you didn't know Michael's was a tactical store. But they sell these little clips, or at least I think that's where I got them. They're little, like buckles, but they're tiny and made for 550 cord. You can make your own keepers. Keeper is to stop your belt and your kit from swinging around on you. Well, it's not tactical when you go to draw your gun and your gun is behind your back because it slipped around there. Your gun that's supposed to be around your hips is now up by your belly button, right? And you missed the draw because your belt's not where it was because you just did a wind sprint and it flopped all over the place. That's what belt keepers are for. So, tactical tip there. Another tactical tip, since I'm thinking about it, talking about 550 cord. Doesn't have to be 550 cord. It could be all kinds of things. Any kind of cordage that's strong. Dummy cording stuff on your kit. That's important that you don't want to lose. Right? The tactical thing that came along during the GWAT was Molly. You weren't cool unless you had Molly. But a lot of that stuff can come unbuckled, especially if you're crawling around, rolling around, going over obstacle courses and stuff. That stuff can snap off. If it's important, dummy cord it. Meaning one of the loops on the object, or the object's pouch, and the main thing you are modeling it to, whether it be a pack or a belt or body armor, and just tie it with a square knot or a bowline knot. Tie that on there so if it does unsnap, it will still be connected. It may flop around a little bit, but you'll still have it. If it's something really expensive, you may want to dummy cord the object itself, like your lensatic compass, your night vision, whatever the case might be. Bad day, you're on a night patrol, doing a night op, and you reach down to grab your night vision, and it's not there. That's an expensive day, especially if you can't find it. Dummy cord. It's a real cheap bit of insurance. Plus you get to work on your sweet knot skills, and what's not cool about that? Alright, your tactical verse of the day. Because if you win 100 gunfights and you die and go to hell, you missed it. You missed the point. Game over, man. This is from the Gospel of Mark. Get behind me, Satan, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men. When he had called the people to himself, with his disciples also, he said to them, whoever desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day.